Russian President Vladimir Putin warned the West that a direct conflict between his country and the US-led NATO military alliance would mean the planet was one step away from World War III. But he also said that hardly anyone wanted such a scenario. The Ukraine war has triggered the deepest crisis in Moscow's relations with the West since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. Putin has often warned of the risks of nuclear war, but says he has never felt the need to use nuclear weapons in Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron last month said he could not rule out the deployment of ground troops in Ukraine in the future, with many Western countries distancing themselves from that, while others, especially in Eastern Europe, expressed support. Asked about the Macron remarks and the risks and possibility of a conflict between Russia and NATO, Putin quipped, "Everything is possible in the modern world. It is clear to everyone that this will be one step away from a full-scale World War III. I think hardly anyone is interested in this," Putin told reporters after winning the biggest ever landslide in post-Soviet Russian history. Putin added, though, that NATO military personnel were present already in Ukraine, saying that Russia had picked up both English and French being spoken on the battlefield. "There is nothing good in this, first of all for them, because they are dying there and in large numbers," has said. Before the Russian presidential election, Ukraine stepped up attacks against Russia, shelling border regions, and even using proxies to try to pierce Russia's borders. Asked if he considered it necessary to take Ukraine's Kharkiv region, Putin said, if the attacks continued, Russia would create a buffer zone out of more Ukrainian territory to defend Russian territory. "I do not exclude that, bearing in mind the tragic events taking place today, we will be forced, at some point, when we deem it appropriate, to create a certain sanitary zone in the territories today under the Kyiv regime," Putin said. He declined to give any further details, but said such a zone might have to be big enough to preclude foreign-made armaments from reaching Russian territory. Putin ordered a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, triggering a major European war after 8 years of conflict in eastern Ukraine between Ukrainian forces on one side and pro-Russian Ukrainians and Russian proxies on the other. Putin said he wished Macron would stop seeking to aggravate the war in Ukraine, but to play a role in finding peace. "It seems that France could play a role. All is not lost yet. I've been saying it over and over again, and I'll say it again. We are for peace talks, but not just because the enemy is running out of bullets," Putin said. "If they really seriously want to build peaceful, good neighborly relations between the two states in the long term, and not simply take a break for rearmament for 1.5 to 2 years,